Are UVA basketball fans ready to pillory our next 5'9" point guard? Chris Graham here for Augusta Free Press. So, first thought I had after seeing the news about Chance Mallory, the local Charlottesville point guard who signed with or committed to UVA, I should say, hadn't signed yet. Back last week, 5'9" kid from St. Anne's Belfield was, man, I bet there are a segment of our fans out there who will be dusting off their Kihei Clark hate for Chance Mallory. I hate to say it that way. Um, he's a big get from the recruiting trail, is Chance Mallory. His suitors included Virginia Tech, Butler, Clemson, Indiana, Maryland, Miami, Seton Hall, Tennessee, and numbers of others. To get the hometown kid to stay home, big deal for Tony Bennett. Um, Four-star point guard, ranked second overall in Virginia, 52nd nationally in the class of 2025. The get of an in-state point guard or in-state player in general for Tony Bennett's big because Tony hasn't had the best track record in state. And I went back a while. I looked back to 2015. So that's the last 10 recruiting classes, 2015 through 2024, the last 10 completed recruiting classes. Bennett has signed exactly one of Virginia's 4 or 5 stars, and that was way back in 2015, Mamadi Diakite. Um, Braxton Key from the class of 2016 was a 4-star. He initially committed to Alabama, then eventually changed changed his mind after his freshman season there at Alabama, came to Virginia. And Diakite and Key were key reserves on the 2019 national title team. In fact, eventually Diakite took over as the starter at center and played a big role there. And then, of course, played really big roles 2020, 21 as well. Um, so, but when you look at the in-state kids that Tony missed out on in the past decade, the likes of Keldon Johnson from Oak Hill Academy and originally from South Hill in 2018, went to Kentucky. Armando Bacot, he graduated from IMG Academy, but he's from Richmond. 2019 went to UNC. Jeremy Roach from St. Paul the Sixth Catholic in Fairfax. 2020 went to Duke. Mark Williams, another IMG Academy guy from Norfolk originally, 2021 went to Duke. Trevor Keels, another St. Paul Six Catholic guy, Fairfax 2021 Duke. So you see Kentucky, UNC, Duke, and Duke. And I'm not counting all the Oak Hill kids here. Another of those, Cole Anthony, who graduated from Oak Hill Academy, not originally, he's originally from New York. Um, he was a 2019 Gatorade Player of the Year in Virginia, and he went to UNC. And of all those guys, I'm looking through the list here. Jeremy Roach, I don't think has matriculated yet in the NBA, and we know Armando Bacot has not. But Keldon Johnson's a big scorer in the NBA. Mark Williams, Trevor Keels are in the NBA. I know Cole Anthony's doing well in the NBA. Those are guys we could have used, right? Looking ahead to the next couple of recruiting classes in 2025, Virginia's loaded. One 5-star, Nate Ament from Warrenton, and he plays at Highland School. Currently uncommitted, so there's a chance, right? And UVA has offered Ament. There are 8 4-stars, including Chance Mallory. So Mallory's committed to Virginia. Um, as of for the rest of that recruiting class, so there's of those 7 other 4-stars, UVA is not in the running at this stage. Not on the look through the list of offers there, and no one has Virginia interest. Um, 2026, the class is a little light in Virginia. There's one 5-star, Jordan Smith from that St. Paul Six Catholic in Fairfax, that UVA is not yet in on, and 3 4-stars, including Latrell Almond from John Marshall High School in Richmond. And he does have an offer from Virginia. So still work to do. So that would be 2 commits in 11 years and not a lot else. Now, looking where Mallory would fit into the UVA roster is an important thing, I think, to do. Mallory is a next year guy, 2025, 2026. He would slot in as one of our next guys at point guard alongside Day Ames, who will be a junior next season, 2025, 2026 season, because I know the next season is 2024, 2025. We're not that far away from there. So he'd slot alongside Day Ames, Christian Bliss, and Elijah Gertrude, who will both be redshirt sophomores in 2025, 2026. Uh, Now, so when you look at that and say, man, there's a lot of point guards, Tony Bennett's liked using two, dating back to the 2018 2019 national championship year when he went with Kihei Clark as a freshman. I was getting ready to say small freshman, but we already know he was small, alongside Ty Jerome, who had been the incumbent starter at point, and just decided to go two point guards. And really, since then, Virginia has under Bennett has gone the two point guard route. Uh, Clark started another 4 years, because of the COVID year. He had to start for 4 more years. Three of those were with Reese Beekman. Um, and then last year, Beekman and Andrew Rohde, who came in as a point guard, were the two guys at the point for Virginia in the backcourt. Um, Now, as big as Clark was on the court for Virginia, and just remember, Tony Bennett said that Clark's first half three in the 2019 NCAA tournament opener with Gardner Webb was the biggest shot of the NCAA tournament for Virginia that year. They were down, if you remember, nine with about a minute to go in the first half of that game. That three cut it to six. Virginia then used the momentum going into the locker room and came out second half, blew Gardner Webb away. But we were it felt like for a long time that day. I was there in the arena in Columbia, South Carolina. It felt like, man, we were on track to another UMBC. At one point, down 14 in that game. Um, he said that was the biggest shot of the tournament. And that's considering what Clark and Mamadi Diakite did on the shot to send the game with Purdue to overtime. If you remember that, you can't forget that. But as big as he was on the court, he was always going to be 5'9", and a sizable and vocal segment of the UVA fan base would not let him or Bennett forget that for some reason. I came around to eventually calling them key haters. I'm hoping I don't have to come up with another dumb nickname for the size-conscious detractors of our next point guard in a bottle. Now, if you have any questions, any comments, any news tips regarding UVA athletics, sports in general, news in general, please feel free to email me at chris@augustafreepress.com.